Good evening and welcome along to TTTV. My name is Andy Campbell and it is Friday evening. It can mean only one thing. It is time for TTFL Season 4, round number 3 from the Circuit de Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. Joining me in the box once again this evening is TTFL's most successful driver with 2 Constructors' Championships and 1 Driver's title. It is Spike. Spike, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
Oh, good evening, sir. I'm very well. How are yourself?
Not too bad. Pretty happy, obviously, that the new season is back for the real life F1. Obviously, quite sad at the shocking news we heard the other morning in regards to Charlie Whiting passing away, unfortunately. So good news coming with the new season, bad news coming with such a popular face, untimely passing. But tonight's ought to be a really good race around the Circuit de Catalunya. We've seen some phenomenal action on TTFL so far, and I'm expecting to see more of the same tonight. What should we look out for tonight around here?
Well, Catalonia I enjoy this circuit. It's just challenging. Lots of high-speed corners. Need a well-balanced car. One that's got a good positive front end, but decent traction through the slower section, especially at the last sector. You could lose a lot of time in that last sector. So quality laps, I think most people, if they can nail the lap, but you miss that last sector, you just don't get the last chicane, turn in correct, you can lose at least half a second easily. So yeah, they'll be looking to get through there nice and cleanly.
Definitely so, and obviously with that chicane there as well, in comparison to what it used to be obviously 2 fast right-handers back in the day, so it does make it a little bit more Mickey Mouse than what it used to be in years gone by, but it's still a phenomenally quick track. I mean, turn 3 is an absolute tyre shredder, and especially if someone tries to go long into a stint, they're going to have to really watch for the tyre wear through that continuous right-hand at a turn 3, because it does really punish the tyres through there.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's well known that it's quite an aggressive track on tyres. They resurfaced it in real life a couple of years ago, so it's not quite as bad as it used to be, but it used to be very abrasive. So yeah, it depends on how people want to approach it. I mean, if they want to go for pole position and use the super soft tyre, then they're going to be looking at a 2-stop race. You won't make the mediums last from supers, but if you want to do the 1-stop, you'll be looking obviously on a soft tyre, or possibly doing a medium to soft, depending on how you're feeling. So yeah, the 1-stop is theoretically faster, but obviously you do have to do a little bit of time management to get to the end.
Definitely. So it'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on throughout the race this evening. It was 2.892 miles, around 16 turns. The drivers and the teams know it very well, as it's obviously used in testing very much. 33 laps ahead of us tonight as well at a 50% race distance. And the pole position lap time from last year's race at the Circuit de Catalunya was Lewis Hamilton, a 1:16.173. Now in testing, obviously, much colder conditions, so not ideal for going flat out, but yet Hamilton and Vettel within 3/1000 of a second of each other, just shy of the 1:16, so it's definitely something that we could see some phenomenal lap times around here. And obviously that turn 9 as well, taking you onto the back straight where the second DRS zone is. It's an absolutely phenomenal corner, taken nearly flat out in 5th gear, sometimes 6th gear, depending on driver preference. There's a lot of tricky corners around here. Should be in for some good action tonight. Will we see a third different winner in the season? So far we've had Australia won by Fletcher, who is back with us tonight in the Williams. It's definitely going a lot faster than the real life one, but we'll say less about that. And then last week in China it was Siege and the Renault who took the victory, but it was on penalties, if I do remember correctly, that got them the win. So we've had 2 different winners so far. Can we see a third one tonight? We've got 17 drivers along for this evening's proceedings, and while it's loading up qualifying, I'll just quickly run you through the championship standings. So Siege with that victory last week, and if I remember correctly, a third place in Melbourne as well, possibly. He's on 40 points, top of the standings. Fletcher is second, tied with Honey Badger, both on 25 points. Then it's Gennaro in the Force India on 24. Recon and Lambo are next up on 18. Leroy on 16th. Mays and Suarez are tied on 10 points. Smelly Badger is on 8 points. Charlie on 4. And then Plaster and Alan Kay 3 and 1 points between them. And in the Constructors' Championship, that means Renault lead the way on 50 points. McLaren in second on 33. Williams in third with that 25 points from Fletcher. Force India on 24, all because of Gennaro. Toro Rosso in 5th with 20 points. Mercedes is purely down to Lambo's 2nd place in Australia. Tied with Red Bull as well for 18. Haas on 10 points, down to Suarez. Ferrari on 4, and Sauber yet to score, despite the fact we've seen some good pace. Sinclair last week until he spun out at the safety car, but different thing to see. So Sauber got a bit of ground to make up, which are not here tonight, so it looks like it is Paul and Roof. I think I'll go back to that. So they need to make some points up, but at the top of the standing, Siege will be looking to increase his lead, but Fletcher back here tonight will be looking to try and gain that back. Who do you put your money on out of 15 drivers?
Well, it's difficult to predict with this league. It's very competitive, which is good to see. Obviously, I think you get usual from TTL from Tuesday, Thursday. Lambo and Poe will be very fast. Badger quite quick. Leroy's had some good pace. Recon from the Sunday League F2, he's looking good as well. Fletcher obviously had a very good win in Australia, so you've got to back him as well for Seven to be up there. So I'm just hoping it's nice and close, to be honest.
Should be a very interesting one. Regards, got a few drivers out on track. The two Salbas of Stu and Poe have headed out. Charlie's out there in the Toro Rosso, and medium tyres for the Toro Rosso. Super soft for Poe, so he's gone for the softest option straight out of the box. His teammate Stu has gone for the yellow marked soft tyres, so seeing all 3 different compounds out on the track already in this early stage. Interesting qualifying session coming up. There's that phenomenal turn 9 as you head down the back straight with the DRS open, heading towards the turn 10 Lacaxia hairpin, and so this is going to be very, very interesting. Poe's just jumped ahead of Stu on track, so we are going to have a wee jump on board with the Salba drivers. He's coming through the final section of the track now, and we're going to take a flying lap off the Circuit de Catalunya here as he just lines it up for the final corner. And here we go, through the final corner we go. DRS open very early on in this extremely long straight and make it very powerful in the race. We've seen a lot of overtaking under DRS at China last time out. Heading down towards turn 1, around about 75 metres, down to 4th gear, chuck it into the apex and through turn 2. This is turn 3. He's Poe's going up to 6th gear and able to keep on the power all the way through there. Pulls to the right hand side a bit too much, and then into turn number 4, down to 4th gear, just bleed the speed up. Bit of a tank slapper on the exit there on the camber, and then into turn 5. Very slow corner. It's very frustrating. You want to get on the power. He's using all of the AstroTurf and getting a very sideways, and then through turn 6 up to turn 7 and 8 and getting it that back end is very lively on that Salba. Through turn 9 just about flat out, DRS wide open, heading down towards the turn 10 hairpin. He's got one of the Ferraris up ahead of him, nicely into the hairpin in 2nd gear, keeps it to the right hand side for turn 11, and then into turn 12. Alan Kay keeping well out of the way of Poe there as he comes through, and that's a huge tank slapper one more time there as he comes into 13. The final Mickey Mouse chicane at turn 14. Need to be careful of the sausage curbs on the inside and out. Through the last turn of 16, through there, DRS wide open, across the line we go, and the lap time that everyone is looking for is nothing because it was a 1:17. 1 that Poe did, but invalidation on that lap time means that we still don't have a time on the board as Charlie though that on the medium tyres in a 1:19.8.
You just remember to keep your microphone as still as possible there, Andy, and breaking up a little bit, my friend.
Not again.
I can see from the way Poe is driving. I'm going to stick my neck out here and say that he's not going to be setting his lap time on super soft. He's probably either soft or medium, I would say. As Leroy jumps to the top of the times on a 1:18.9 on the mediums. The mediums do take well over a lap to get nice on them, so quite possibly for a second push lap on those tyres. And now we have Recon jump to the top on a 1:18.1 on the soft tyre.
Indeed, good lap time there from the Dutch driver in the Red Bull on those soft tyres. And as you say, strategy wise, I would expect most drivers would ideally want soft in the mediums or vice versa. those super softs aren't going to last too long, especially around that extremely fast turn 3, which is just going to tear them to absolute shreds. Leroy in second, Charlie in third, Maximus in fourth at the moment in the Haas. Had a dismal Chinese number of spins last, I think. He's currently fourth at the moment. Next is fifth, and the other Toro Rosso just passing his teammate there. Alan Kay's put himself into sixth place in the Ferrari just now, and Suarez, oh, that was Alan Kay getting very wide out of turn 2 there. But he's still in seventh now, because Stu has gone up into second on the soft tyres in the Sauber, and Suarez rounds out the top 9 as it is now. Siege is putting a lap, please, 9th now, and Suarez back into pit lane. So 118.1 is the target so far from Recon in the Red Bull.
Yeah, we've got Fletcher just winding up for his first time lap on the medium tyres. Going to be looking to get into 17s, I think, with the mediums. That's about where you can get to, I think. I think best lap time we had last night was a 17, I believe a 17.5, I think, on the mediums. So that's definitely possible, and I expect this man here to possibly get quite close to that.
Definitely so. We'll definitely have a look at that as the Australian Grand Prix winner flies through turn 3 on the hardest tyre compound. So he'll be looking to try and put himself into that top 10 so that he doesn't need to qualify on a softer compound, give him better strategy for the race. He's got one of the Red Bulls in behind him, but we'll just keep an eye on the Williams, going much faster, as I say, than the real life scenario, which was 4 seconds off the pace in for the Australian Grand Prix earlier this morning. But Fletcher making this one go a lot quicker at the moment. Still that 18.1 from Recon at the top of the standings as he comes into the final sector now. Got Salba up ahead, staying out of the way. I believe that is Stu, who's currently in second on the soft tyres. And then into the final sector comes the number 12 car. Can he make a good impression on the top 10, give himself perfect strategy for the race, clipping the inside curb very nicely on the second part of the chicane, flying out of the final corner. He's already over the 17 into the 18s, and it's an 18.569, 4 times down on the pole position time. That's a pretty good lap time, I would say, on the medium tyres. Siege has improved up to third place on the medium tyres, so getting better grip out of him on his second lap as he did out his first lap. Good lap time from both of them, and you can see at the moment 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th lap times on the medium tyres, the top 2 on the softs. The only one to do a lap time on super softs at the moment is Suarez, but it's definitely not representative of what the Spaniard can do here. 5 seconds down in 11th place. There's Lambo in the Mercedes, back filling in as a in that car this weekend, just pulling out of the way as the Williams of Fletcher comes past him. It'll be interesting to see what he can do, because between him, Honey Badger, who's not here tonight, and Fletcher, it was a brilliant battle at Australia, so we know what speed Lambo's got, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of pace he can do around here tonight. But still Recon at the top, but only a 10th clear of the Sauber off.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like to mention that some of the drivers this evening are running black helmets. That's paying homage to Charlie Whiting. Obviously, the sad passing of Charlie Whiting over the last couple of days obviously hit the F1 community very hard, and it's nice to see some of the drivers paying some respect there, just doing a little bit for it. Definitely
so. I mean, there's an example there from Suarez with the black helmet on his car. Just looking to see who else has done it, because I've noticed a lot of them on Twitter saying exactly that. Maximus has done the exact same thing, as has Charlie, and a number of other drivers. I do know Mays, who is currently in pit lane, not having done a lap time. He's done a little bit extra on it after the horrible news this morning of what happened in New Zealand. He's added a little New Zealand touch to it as well, in tribute to those, I think it was 49 people who needlessly lost their lives in a shooting this morning. So he's adding a little touch to that as Paul puts himself into pole position at the moment, a 17.7 on the medium tyre. So that's a pretty time there indeed from Paul, would you say?
Yep, that's kind of the lap time you're looking at on the mediums. Yeah, you possibly go a little bit quicker than that, but it's a very good first lap from Poe there. The old medium tyre. Obviously he was out on super soft earlier on, but obviously as we saw, there's no intention there to start on super soft. I think scenario again, we might get a few of the drivers who are missing a couple of tenths here or there decide that they want to perhaps go for that pole position. As Fletcher now on his second push lap does a 17.707, so 200ths quicker, but obviously he's done a couple of laps extra than Poe on those.
Definitely so indeed. That was a good lap time from both of them as Lambo on the mediums puts himself within 2 tenths of the pole time at the moment. Fletcher on a 17.707, so pretty close between the top 3 at the moment. Less than 2 tenths do cover them. At the meantime, we've got 7.5 minutes to go, so still plenty of time for some drivers to decide they want to maybe change it up, put on a softer compound, maybe go for the yellow mark tyres for those that are on the mediums with a good lap time, see if they can push it. I don't see too many going for super soft tyres at the moment, but it'll be interesting to see. Maze and Badger are still in pit lane now. Badger, who's in pit lane in 15th, you'll see there, that is Smelly Badger, who has recently joined the TTG Esports team now, so that is, in case you're getting a bit confused, because there was obviously 2 Badgers in the McLaren. It is Smell. Oh, sorry, huge moment there for Poe, I do believe that is, or is it Maximus? One of the 2 Haas drivers, sorry, it was Maximus who lost it through turn 9. Huge sideways moment, ended up in the old part of the track and on the gravel, but kept it out of the wall, and he'll be heading back to pit lane very, very shortly. But yeah, that Badger there, TTG Badger, is Smelly Badger. That is now got a name change, having joined the ranks of TTG.
Absolutely, and just noticing that we've got Struth in there, just coming up to wind up to his next attempt at his qualifying lap, and he is on those super soft tyres, so we will be seeing an attempt for pole position right now, just coming through the last chicane as we speak.
Definitely so. We've picked up the Sauber driver as he heads through the final couple of corners to wind up. The battery's fully charged into hot lap mode it is, and he is on his way to see if he can find the time to put himself into provisional pole position. We'll follow the Sauber driver around on this lap. We've done a quick lap earlier on board with his teammate Paul, which was invalidated, but now we've got a run here on the super softs, and you can see absolutely flat to the floor through turn 3, no lifting at all. Those red marked super soft tyres through into turn. A little bit late in the downshift there, it only goes down to 3rd gear and missed the apex a couple of attempts as he comes through turn 6 and 7 now, heading up towards the end of sector 2. We'll get his sector time in the top right hand corner of the screen in just a moment's time. We'll see if he's up on his current lap time. DRS wide open as the battery filters its way down. It's a 22.0 in sector 2, so we don't know if that's better or not than his previous at the moment as he comes through turn number 12, heading towards 13, 14 and 15, and then final turn is 16. Black helmet on as well for Struth, and in honour of the passing the track white, and as we've mentioned, and he comes through the final corner now through turn 16. First proper lap on the super softs, and it's a 17.0. It's 7 times clear of pole position at the moment, but I was thinking we were maybe going to see it drop into the 16s there, Spike, in the super softs, or would you say that that's a pretty good lap time from Struth?
It's a good lap time. It's not. It won't take pole position at the 17.0. I think we'll be looking at 16s, high 16s on the softs. Yeah, like you said, he missed the apex a couple of times in that lap, so a little bit messy. So back to the pits, new set of tyres on, and go out again. And I reckon he's got at least probably 3 or 4 tenths in his pocket there if he just doesn't. If he ties up the lap a little bit. Definitely.
So we've just jumped on board with a Red Bull off Dynamic, but he's heading back to pit lane. Siege looked like he was going for a lap on those soft tyres, but backed right out of it, so he wasn't too happy with his turning into turn number 1. And you can see behind there, one off the Toro Rossos out on track. That is Charlie on his outlap on the super soft tyres. So we're going to see a few more drivers now heading out on super softs. Another one doing that is Badger in the McLaren. It looks like he's only going to get 1 or maybe 2 timed laps out of here, and Maze has still not left pit lane yet for a lap. He done this last week if I remember rightly as well, left it to the very last moment to put in a lap time Didn't want to be running around too much, so he got himself into the lead early at one point in the race as well, because he had to pit early with his safety car. And Mays isn't going to set a single lap time in this session. He's already retired out, so interesting strategy there from the Renault driver, but it's not the first time he's done that. Be interesting to see how he goes in the race. Here is Charlie coming through the final corner, about to start his latest flying lap attempt on those super soft tyres. It's still the Struff up top on the Salba, 17.010 from Fletcher in second, Poe in third, Lambo fourth, and Recon rounds out the top five. But then Suarez, Siege, Leroy, Maximus and Nexus Dynamic rounding out your top 10. But we're into the final 3 minutes of the session. It's anybody's guess who's going to be in the top 10 at the end of this one.
Yep, I'm currently on board with Siege. Oh, wide through the hairpin there, very wide, but he is currently 2.5 tenths up on Struff's fastest lap time at the moment, so looking good at the moment. A little bit wide, a little bit oversteer again on the exit as well, so again, not particularly, what's the word I'm looking for? Tidy, that's the one. Thank you, Andy. Yes, tidy through there. But yeah, he's lost quite a bit of time in the middle sector there. It's actually telling me now he's nearly 2 tenths down. I'm going to assume it's on Struff's lap time. Oh, big oversteer. Call that curb through that turn there. You want to stay away from that curb, especially with the way that we got the car set up around for this track. Now into the final section. Can we get hit the first apex? Missed that big sausage curve, missed the second one perfect through there, get on the parallel, so he's actually pitting. Yes, I felt he did make quite a large mistake into the hairpin, so a bit of time left for Siege. So whether he's now going to switch it up and go for super soft, or whether he's now going to not set another lap time and see where he ends up. And I do believe Maximus has now gone second and Charlie's gone third, both respectively on 17.5 and 17.6.
Indeed, we just got to the end of Charlie's lap as he came through and then instantly beaten by a Haas of Maximus. As I say, it wasn't the greatest Chinese Grand Prix for the Haas driver. Oh, he's in the wall, speaking of terrible times. He's just binned it through turn 3. Wing damage there for the number 12, and that's the second time he's been off the track already tonight. Had a few off-track excursions last week as well, showing that he's got some pace, but maybe just not able to just reel in that extra bit for consistency, and he's retired out of the session while on track, which is not the nicest, and that's a bit naughty in doing that. Siege has retired from the pit lane as well. He's only going to start no better than 9th, as you see the Haas pulling off to the side of the road there. Bit cheeky from Maximus.
Sorry, Andy.
No, you're fine.
Massive moment through turn 2, very massive turn. He's on his soft run now on his final set of tyres, and got a rather large swapper through turn 2, but he managed to hold on to it, so still kept the minimum speed up, so I think he's still okay for this lap. It's just quite a large oversteer movement right there.
Big moment there for Poe. That cut, he's off the he's on the gravel again, going through turn 5 this time, so that's going to ruin the lap. And we were on board with him earlier on for the hot lap on his first lap out, and that car looks extremely twitchy. You know, it doesn't look settled at all. It looks extremely on a knife edge, and it's a few times now that he's had massive tank slappers on through corners, so it'll be interesting to see if he can reel that one in. Struff's not going to be back out onto the track because he's still in pit lane as we're down to the final 10 seconds. Yellow flag somewhere in sector 3. Not too sure what's causing that, but it's disappeared now as Poe flies back into pit lane. So the checkered flag is now out. Poe is not going to improve.
Sorry, again coming across this. Suarez just getting in the way of Lambo's lap there. I mean, he needs to be paying more attention there. He was, yeah. Anyway, so Lambo is now into sector 3. If the deltas are correct, he was nearly half a second quicker than Fletcher through the first sector. So let's just see how this lap unfolds, and it's looking pretty fast, looking pretty close to pole.
It's a pole position.
67, yes, 67. I'm correct. And Fletcher does go second on us, on a 16.8.
Definitely. So Recon's finished in 6th place. Charlie crosses the line. He's not improved on his time, and everyone else has already finished. They say Suarez not paying too much attention, really catching up, but it was Dynamic still on a lap, so he is. My apologies. Yeah. And he improved his time, but not his position. So he's still in his 11th place. So your pole position is Lambo in the Mercedes, getting into the 16s, but not by much ahead of Fletcher, who popped in his last lap time there on the soft tyres as well. Just less than a tenth, I believe it was. It's coming up just. So Lambo on pole, 16 Fletcher in second on a 16.8, less than a tenth of a second between the two of them. That's on the soft compound tyre. That's going to play Rain well into the race. Struff in third on super softs, as is Maximus in fourth in the Haas, but he needs to keep it on the island through the race as well. Recon fifth on softs, Charlie on sixth in super softs, Poe seventh on a twitchy Salbo on mediums, Suarez in eighth, Sage ninth, Leroy rounds out the top 10. They four all on mediums. Then it's Nexus Dynamic, Plaster, Badger, Alan K, and Mays did not set a single lap time in this session. Now, normally at this point me and you, Spike, would go through discussing what we're expecting from the race, but we are about to do a silent formation lap in honour of Charlie Whiting, and I've made a little bit up here to go with it, give you a wee bit of insight into the man himself. Born on August the 12th, 1952, he first worked in F1 for the Hesketh team in 1977 as a mechanic before moving on to the Bravum team, where he worked his way up the ranks to become chief mechanic and helped Nelson Piquet become World Drivers' Championship in both 1981 and 1983, staying with the team all the way through until it was sold at the end of 1988. Bravum obviously well known for having multiple rule benders, and then he moved into doing the exact opposite of that, being the technical and safety director, before moving up to safety and FIA director in 1997. Instrumental in car and track safety, including the introduction of the Halo last year as well. It was sad to see that he passed away at the age of 66. As we start the formation lap, and we're going to continue this in silence in remembrance of Charlie Whiting. And that's it. After that silent for remembrance of Charlie Whiting, who passed away yesterday at the age of 66 on the eve of the Australian Grand Prix. Our condolences and prayers go to his family, friends who've lost a great man. The light virtual and in the for the start of the pre. Who's going to get a good start here? We've got a cat angle at the moment. He's having to pull the inside does pull into the lead of this race and stop past.
Contact straight through, yeah. Yeah,
already
you're struggling with your microphone a little bit there, mate. Your microphone's breaking up quite a bit, mate. Just to let you know. So I'll take it for a second. Struve, yeah, on the super soft tyres, got great traction off the line there, through to the lead. A little bit of contact between him and Fletcher in turn two, but I believe, Poe's already out of the session. I didn't see what happened there. He's already left as well, so obviously something is obviously befallen his race, unfortunately. One of the first guys on those mediums, so that would have been interesting to see where he ended up, but unfortunately were not to be. So through turn 9, Struth is in the lead, Fletcher's second. TT Recon's had a great start, he's up to P3. Lambo's down to 4 from pole positions. There's a poor first lap for Lambo. Maximus in P5, Suarez P6, Charlie 7th, Leroy 8th, Siege 9th, Plaster 10th, Badger 11th, Maze 12th, Alakay 13th, and Nexus Dynamic has always dropped all the way back to last position, so obviously some more problems for him on the first lap.
Definitely so. Hopefully you can hear me now, but it was don't know quite happened with Poe. I just seen him flying off in the background coming out of turn 1 and 2. Obviously contact somewhere, tried to work my way through the field to see if anyone had any damage, but couldn't notice anything. Struth though, flying away up front. He needs to do that on these super soft tyres. He's already gained 1.5 seconds over the rest of the field as they fly down towards turn number 1. It is Fletcher in second, Recon up 2 places into third, Lambo dropping down 3 places from the pole position, he's in 4th, Suarez in 5th on his home Grand Prix, up 3 places already. Maximus has lost a couple of places at the start in 6th, Leroy in 7th, he's another 3 place gainer, with Charlie another 2 place loser down in 8th place. Then it's Siege in 9th, Plaster in 10th, Maze is up 4 places from his starting position in 11th. Then it is Badger, Alan Kay and Nexus Dynamic, as you say, right down at the back of the field. But the battling is happening all the way through, obviously in the early stages, and the 2nd, 3rd and 4th are pretty close together, and the Haas drivers and the 2 Toro Rossos aren't too far apart. There's Lambo looking for a late move down the inside of Recon, but had to think better off it there. The Red Bull slammed the door shut and he has to hold back into 4th place at the moment. Struth had managed to gain about 1.5 seconds. I thought he was going to pull away a bit more, but he's struggling now. We've got a yellow flag. It is Maximus who's off the track at the top of the hill through turn number 12. It's the first time he's off in the race, having made a few mistakes in qualifying already. Nexus Dynamic was round the outside of him. That puts Maximus down into last position. Meanwhile, back up here at the front, Lambo up to the inside of Recon into turn 1. Any contact, they managed to keep avoiding hitting each other there. Nice racing, and Maximus retires from the session, but Recon holds on to 3rd place for the moment. DRS is now enabled, of course, so that's going to assist attacking driver as Lambo goes late up the inside into turn 4. Can he keep it together on the inside? Recon's got the better run though out of the corner. He's now got the inside for turn 5. Locks up a little bit. The Mercedes is going to try and cut back and gain the place, but there's not really much overtaking now up this next section. He's going to need to sit tight and try and see if he can make the move down towards the turn 10 hairpin. He'll have DRS to assist him, but Recon will have it as well to help him defend, because he is close enough to Fletcher ahead to come down towards turn 10. Anybody fancying a go? No, Lambo thinks better off it as they head into the hairpin. Siege meanwhile pretty close to the back of Charlie, but he's unable to do anything either. Maze hasn't done anything onto the back of Plaster, so it's as you were. Struth still out in front, but that gap is less than 1 second. Those super softs are maybe going off already. It's hard to tell, of course, depends on your driving style and setup, but those guys behind, all on the soft tyres, are reeling that Salba in pretty quickly as we head on to lap number 4.
Yeah, so the super soft tyres won't do much more than 7 laps, so Stu will already be starting to struggle with those tyres. Yeah, initially a great effort for him to get to the lead, but this is more unpredictable. The soft tyre is the much better race tyre than the super soft tyre. So yeah, nice and close for the top 4, and Recon set the fastest lap of the race on that lap, so he's looking nice and strong, and obviously Lambo right behind. Suarez sitting nicely in P5, first guy on those medium tyres, losing a bit of time, so he needs to get those meters. Now the meters they should start coming to temperature right about now.
Sorry, Fletcher.
Interrupt anytime we need.
Fletcher looked like he locked up, nearly went into the back of Struth. Recon sneaks up the inside of him into turn number 5 and steals 2nd place away from the Williams. The Williams driver managed to avoid contact, which was lucky for everyone involved, but it's cost him 2nd place at the moment. That puts Recon up into 2nd, with Fletcher now down to 3rd. Lambo still there in 4th. Siege managed to get past Charlie under DRS down before turn 1, and Maze done the same thing on Plaster as well, over 9th and 10th position. So try to keep an idea of everything going on as they come towards the end of the lap. The top 4, you can chuck a blanket over them at the moment. When that Salba ahead for pit lane, he's going for another lap at the moment, and he's starting to get a train. Recon now is going to have an absolute brilliant run on the Salba, but Fletcher's getting a run as well. Lambo looks like he's dropped off a bit. He's not going to be able to attack here as they head towards turn number 1. Recon going to the outside of the Salba. That's going to be a